What's going on, people? Anthony back again, Agent B Entertainment. Today, we're back in Sarasota, Florida. We're on a gorgeous golf course today. We have a ceremony, cocktail, and a reception. Except for today, I got a huge logistical challenge that I'll get to explain throughout the video. Can't wait for you to see this. I'm gonna do the ceremony walkthrough and everything. Let's get it. All right, this is where they're gonna be doing the cocktail area, bar probably over there. I'm gonna have a table right here. Right through this little walkway is gonna be where they're doing the ceremony portion. I'm gonna have a speaker right over here and then a cocktail speaker here. And this is a smaller wedding, so one speaker on each side should work just perfect. We do have a 2 microphone setup. But from what I'm being told, they're just going to use one. They're going to keep it on a stand. The officiant's going to use it, and then the bride and groom's going to use it during their vows. Let's go.
Do you want to party? Cool it up, she baby. I won't tell nobody. 내가 널 지켜줄게 however you want it, my dear. Do you want to party? Cool it up, she baby. I won't tell nobody. 내가 널 지켜줄게 however you want it, my dear.
Now I'm going to walk you through my ceremony setup for today. Of course, I got the eVerse 8s. These things sound amazing. Not only that, they're battery powered. My entire setup today is battery powered. I have no external power. It's all running off of batteries somewhere. I got my external mic stand for the officiant. They don't want to use the lapel today. I got the speaker pole scrims. And if you're wondering why one speaker's where it's at, it's because there's cocktail over here, ceremony over here, and then we're kind of hidden behind everything back here. This is one of my camera poles. It's going to be coming with me in a moment. But we got, it's an SKB, I think a 4 size rack. I'll just pop it off right here. We got a drawer where I put my mics, all my stuff. Everything's kind of already ready. A Furman power conditioner. And then I got 2 Shure SLX-D4 mics. No, they're not the SLXD pluses, but we plan on getting those soon. I literally just got these like 6 months ago. And then we got the QSC Touch Mix 8. And then underneath, the battery power is right here. It's a Blue Yeti. You can see I hit this button and all the parameters come on. Now, I've never maxed this. On the thing, it says 30 hours at full capacity it could go for. I will say I used it last weekend at a gig out near the beach where they had ceremony and cocktail. And I want to say I was out there for 2 hours and almost 30 minutes. And when I was done, that was on 75%. Both of my speakers were roughly right around 65%. So it could have easily went, you know, at least a couple more hours, which is great. But it's important that you test these things out because at some point we know that the length of batteries start to die down. But now we're gonna go get ready for our reception. Here we go. Set up in exactly 1 hour. It helped that I pre-built those totems in the parking lot with the both BPM spots. You can tell I'm dying right now. It is hot out here. It feels like 97, but I'm gonna take you through my equipment. Here we go. All right, first and foremost is the EKX 15-inch sub powered. I have 2 of those, one there and one all the way over there. The ETX 15-inch powered top. I got one there. I got one there. I have the Pro Effects case with the Rev 7, the gold one. MacBook M1, the M5, I'm still putting music on it. It'll be probably out working soon. Sound switch. I got a wired mic. Down there, you can kind of see it back there, is the 2.4 gigahertz wireless DMX from Both Lighting. I did have it drop out on me the first gig that I used. I have no idea why. Maybe the antenna got too close to the UHF antennas. Have no idea. I had to reset power 3 or 4 times. It's in one of my gig logs. But I did get it back up and running. The next gig, had no issues with it. Worked great. So tonight will be the 3rd time I'm using it at a gig. Then I have the RCF 10-channel mixer, still analog here. I have the half-wave antennas, which I'll show you the back in a minute, a fan because we're in Florida. I have the Shure SLX-D4 mic, a Shure PSM 900 transmitter that I'm not using right now, but if you've seen in one of my other videos when I did a gig out at Bella Casa in Lake Wales, Florida, I used it where I had the paddle and I can basically wireless speak to speakers without hooking up XLRs to them. Then I got the big boy Furman power conditioner, the PL Pro DMC. I got a drawer with a whole bunch of stuff in it. And then my Govey clips, all my XLRs, Rockville Facade. Rockville Facade, I think, comes in 4 panels, and then you can order 2 additional panels. That's what I did. So I have the 6 panel, but it's 4 panels and 2 panels. And you can kind of see what it looks like. And then the new Rockville totems, they all come in one bag. Way better, way more efficient, and they load a lot faster. Instead of you screwing in a screw into a nut, now it's a nut into a subplanted screw. It's pretty cool. The BPM spots, I got 2 of those, 1 across each side. And then I have 24 uplights here. I have 8 from Both Lighting. They're, I think, the SR4, I can't remember. And they're the smaller ones for my facade and my pillars. And then I have sheds, 16 sheds. The big ones, they're just like the S4s from Both Lighting, but they're from sheds. I used to have an S6 from Both Lighting. They look exactly the same. Here they go. I actually just noticed I only have 14 of them here with me because I left 2 at home because I didn't need a full 16 of those when I did my venue walkthrough. That's why my little ones that are in my bag anyways are standing in for those. But usually I have 16. 2 are still sitting at home, which is fine. And then I always put a tablecloth, and then my power is running to a receptacle way out there. Once again, in the last gig log, you heard me talk about venue walkthroughs. That's where I identified power. It's a 20 amp breaker. I'm a little worried there's no backups, but we're gonna see how tonight goes. All right, now it's time to go get changed into my suit and head back over to the ceremony where I gotta start music in about 30 minutes. Here we go.
All right, earlier in this video, I talked about a logistical challenge that I was gonna have during this gig. And the biggest challenge was that the ceremony and cocktail area were about a 3 to 4 minute drive away from where the reception area was. Now, the big hurdle was I wasn't allowed to go set up in the reception area until an hour and a half prior to when music has to start at the ceremony. It usually takes me, for the setup that I had for this reception, about an hour and 20 minutes to set it up. The biggest hurdle being building the totems for the moving headlights. Now, I was able to get ceremony and cocktail set up. I was in the parking lot where the reception area was about an hour prior, and then I was able to build my totems in the parking lot and then get them over to the location. The saving grace was, instead of having to park in the front of the reception venue and cart all of my equipment through the venue, I was able to use the golf cart path to park right next to where I was loading in underneath that tree and just basically walk all my stuff right into the spot. So I was able to get everything built in my reception area because I built the totems earlier in about 50 minutes. Now, you can tell in this video, I am spent. It feels like of 98 degrees on this day. That central Florida heat just beats you down. But I was able to get it done. Thank you. You've heard me talk about it 1,000 times because of the venue walkthrough. And I knew exactly what I needed to do. I built a plan before, and then I was able to get back and start that ceremony in time.
All right, ceremony music has started. We don't have a jacket. We're outside this whole day. Not gonna be any jacket out here today. But what I'm gonna try to do is with the 360 cam is get the ceremony process. I just met with the rabbi and we went over all the cues that are on the script so that we can make sure we hit any music parts at any timely manners. I also went by with the coordinator / planner again to make sure that we're in line. The super important part about this whole process is making sure that all the keys are right on time. So here's game time. This is when the Super Bowl starts. Let's go.
All right, at this point, the ceremony's done. I would say in all the ceremonies I've ever done, this was probably the most intricate. Here is the script that I used, but there was certain key points and timing that you just had to have with music. You don't want to mess this up for the couple. This is the biggest day, potentially, of their life. But we hit every single one. I couldn't have done it without Nicole and her team from Swanky Soiree. I think that's how you say it. But she was the planner on the event, and she absolutely crushed it. And I didn't meet her till the day of. It just speaks volumes to how her team operates, that they could never have worked with me before, and then we integrate together perfectly. But my mic goes out. I don't have a mic on my phone for the rest of the day that I'm filming with, so it ended up being an update. So now I get to voice over all those certain parts. Now we're going on a cocktail, and then we're gonna get over to the reception. So back to logistical challenges for this gig. In my initial planning, I planned on to go over to reception before cocktail was even over, get the music started, come back to cocktail, and then announce that reception is open, just to end the music at cocktail, drive back over to reception, do intros, do dinner, in between dinner and toast, drive back over to cocktail, pack up my ceremony and cocktail, and then come back in time for toast. Well, if you've ever done entertainment gigs, you know that people love to linger. So as I drove back over to cocktail, announced that the reception was now open, people sat around for about 20 minutes. Now, I left the music off at cocktail, because if I would have left the music on, you know as well as I do, they would have sat there for like an hour. So while I was waiting for everybody and they were just lingering, I was able to pack up cocktail and ceremony and get over to reception with no lapse and able to do intros just in time without even a hiccup. So it worked out in my favor. But now you can see, as a solo op, you got to plan for these things. Here we go.
All right. If you can hear the sound of my voice, somebody say yeah. If you can hear the sound of my voice and you're ready to have a good time tonight, say oh yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anthony, your DJ and MC this evening, and welcome to the beautiful Longboat Key Club in Longboat Key, Florida. We are going to celebrate love tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, I need your assistance. When I ask you to make some noise, they need to hear you in Tampa. Are you ready? So, we ask that you all rise as we introduce our newly married bride and groom. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys make the most noise for and
All right, we've made it through dinner, we've made it through toasts, and we made it through cake cutting. We are now at the portion of the video where we're at dancing. But most importantly, if you made it this far in the video, do your boy a favor, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and help out the channel. Here we go. right, at this point in dancing, everybody's having a good time. Hands are going up. I mean, it's a good party. But out of my peripheral, I start to notice a few songs back that there's a gentleman getting really close to my light. Now, in about 95% of the situations, I would usually go over and ask the person to move away from my light. But everybody's having such a good time, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that's nothing's going to happen until it does.
I said,
well, you know at this point, if anything can happen, eventually it will happen. Now, I've been in the bar and nightclub business for over 20 years and a DJ for almost 30. So I've seen just about everything that you could possibly imagine. So it wasn't out of the norm for me to jump into action once I seen that light falling. Now, as that light's falling, I try to get over there. And something that I noticed from the video that I didn't notice at the time was that my headphones were still around my neck. Now, thankfully, I had a pair of DJ headphones that have this bungee. Because had I had a pair of headphones that have one of those straight cords, I could have potentially ripped the headphone jack out of my controller, or even worse, pulled my controller off my table. And can you imagine having DJ furniture? You would have probably pulled the DJ furniture down. So I can't stress this or recommend this enough. If you don't have a pair of headphones that have that bungee, I highly recommend that you get a pair. Now, as the light's falling, something about my lights is I put a strap around them. Now, this strap is going to hold that light on for most of the time. But as that pole's falling, you notice that it hits, it's like a planter, but it's for a fire pit. And once it hits, gravity just takes over. That light ends up slipping out of that strap. Because I don't have that strap super tight, because the housing on that light, I'll either damage it or crack it. So it's on there just enough so that if you bump it, it's going to stay with that. Now, had that planter not been there, that light would have went all the way down with that pole. But because that pole hit that little planter, gravity just took over, light fell off. But once I picked up the light, I knew that it was broke. I could already hear something in there rattling. I did take it over behind my table. I checked it. There's a ring around it that was broke. It was kaput. So something in this process that I noticed, it didn't seem like anybody on the dance floor even seen this happen. I noticed that the gentleman that seen it happen, his significant other that he was dancing with seen it happen, but even worse, the bride and groom were standing right in front of my booth when it happened and they both seen it. But it didn't look like the rest of the crowd did. So am I going to cry over spilt milk? No, the light's broke. We'll deal with it after. It's my job to keep this party going. And that's exactly what we do in this. We keep the party going.
Everybody in the club go to work. I'ma rock to the beat till it hurt. Everybody in the club go to work. I'ma rock to the beat till it hurt.
It has been an absolute pleasure playing music for you guys. Please do me a favor, be safe out there. Do not drink and drive. Have a safe night.
And just like that, the event is over. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Something that I did not show was towards the end of the video, or actually during pack up, I actually ended up cramping up real bad. I think I took too much liquid IV through the course of my gig and not enough just straight water. And I think that all that sodium just caused me to cramp real bad. I almost passed out. I had to take about a 20-minute break while I was packing up. At this point, I'm basically the only one in the venue. But was I frustrated about the light? It happens. I was more frustrated with myself. I watched it unfold for about 4 or 5 songs. I should have just went over there and trusted my instinct, but it is what it is. The groom's mom actually came up and reimbursed me for the entire light. She was an absolute sweetheart through the whole process as far as booking the client and everything. So shout out to Kim. And the guy who knocked over the light, great dude. I think it was the groom's uncle. Outstanding dude. At the end of the night, went over, gave the guy a hug, gave him a dap. It happens, right? He was having a blast the whole time. That's all that you could ask for. But I hope that you liked the video. Like and subscribe to the channel. Become a member with me. And check out my other gig logs. I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. Here we go.